As an SEO manager, one of the things I get asked about the most is link building. And for good reason. It's one of the most important parts of SEO, but also one of the most misunderstood. Every year I see more and more articles with headlines like, is link building finally dead? Has Google finally killed link building? Should you be link building in 2021? The answer is no, it's not dead. And yes, you should be. Basically, link building at this point in time is one of your strongest weapons as a site owner against putting your website fully at the mercy of Google's algorithm. But unfortunately, it's also the weapon with the most potential for self-inflicted wounds. Have you ever had to deal with a Google manual penalty? Because I have, and let me tell you, they're not fun. There is literally a step in the recovery process where you have to send Google a message telling them you're sorry for building bad links, you fixed the problem, and you'll never do it again. If you're into doing that kind of thing, that is your business. I'm not here to judge. I am just here to give you some tips on how you can get started link building confidently and feeling like you are doing the most for your website. My name is Dan Cromar from Conversion Giant. Let's go. If you're a total SEO novice, you probably have a lot of questions right now. Like, what are links? I mean, you know what a link is, but what does it mean for SEO? Why do I need them? Why am I building links? How do they help my site? Let's start there. The primary goal of link building is to build up your site's authority. When another website links to your site, they pass authority through what is called link equity, or in SEO, we sometimes call it link juice because we like giving things fun names. Basically, the more links you have, the more link juice goes to your site, and the more authority you have. That is a gross oversimplification, and we'll get more into that later, but for now, that'll do as an explanation. But what is authority? Authority is one of the core pillars of SEO. It's also one of the things that we cover in our Giant Insights report here at Conversion Giant, because it is one of the things that Google looks at to determine whether or not it should rank your site highly. Basically, it's Google's way of asking, why should anybody care what this website has to say? And links are your way of saying you should care because all of these other people said that you should care. So that's the first goal of building links, is to build authority. But there is a secondary goal that often gets overlooked, but in my opinion, is just as important. And that's to simply increase your overall digital footprint. Link building is a great way to get your website in front of more people. It's a great way to get referral traffic. Referral traffic is traffic that comes from another site, when another site refers visitors to your site. Link building is really just good marketing. It's getting your site in front of more potential customers and bringing them to your website. Authority is very important, but this other part of link building, in my opinion, is just as important and often overlooked. So now that you understand the core concept of what link building is, you might be thinking, well, I should just go out and get links from as many different websites as I can, right? Take my authority to the moon. Well, hold on, slow down. Remember earlier when I said I was oversimplifying things a little bit? Let's unsimplify them and look a little bit deeper. There are certain types of links that, if acquired, don't really help your site that much, and some can even harm your site. So let's get into those real quick. The first type of link that you really need to avoid are links from what we refer to as link farms. These are sites that basically just exist for the sole purpose of linking to other sites, usually for a fee. It's a site where anybody can post an article and have a link, or a directory where anybody can post a listing and have a link. I like to say, think of it this way. How easy is it to get a link from a site? If it's super easy and anyone can do it, it's probably not worth it and probably not worth your time, at least from an authority standpoint. The second type of link to avoid are links from sites that are completely irrelevant to yours. Now, I already talked about how one of the benefits of link building is getting your site in front of potential customers. If a website is completely irrelevant to yours, the fact that that's not going to happen really should be enough to deter you from wanting to do that. But from an authority standpoint, it doesn't really help you either. Google can tell whether or not a link to your site is from a site that's relevant. They're smart enough to figure that out. And if they see a lot of links from irrelevant sites, they may consider that unnatural link building, and you could potentially be penalized for it. At the very least, it's probably not going to do you much good. So stick to sites that are relevant to your industry. And finally, I want to talk a bit about paid links. Now, these are tricky. Google has come out and said paying for links, paying a site for a link on their site back to yours is against their guidelines, and those links will not help your authority. Now, there are certain exceptions to this, but none of them pass authority. All I'm really talking about are things like sponsored content. It's still okay to pay a website to post content on their site and then have that site mark the content as an ad or sponsored content and then link to your site with a nofollow link. More on that in a minute. But these links will not pass any authority to your site. They're only for the purposes of increasing your visibility. So it's kind of up to you to determine whether doing something like that is even worth your time or your money. Now, I just mentioned something called nofollow links. So you might have been like, wait, Dan, slow down. What are those? Nofollow links are a special type of link with a tag that tells Google not to pass authority through them. They still function the same for users, and just looking at a link, you can't really tell the difference, but Google will see the link and know not to pass authority. These are typically used on social media sites, forums, blog comments, places where a lot of people might be posting links to things. They're usually going to be nofollow. That's why those sources aren't really good for link building as far as authority goes. Now, nofollow links are still important because Google considers nofollow links to be an important part of a natural link portfolio. So you shouldn't ignore them entirely. Usually they'll come to you naturally if people are mentioning you on social media or in forums, but if you get them from a piece of sponsored content or if a site is offering a nofollow link, you don't necessarily have to ignore it. Just remember it's not going to pass authority. It will only pass, hopefully, referral traffic. So now you know about the bad links. But what are the good links? How do I find those? Those are the ones I want. All right, let's talk about good links that actually can help your website. The first category I want to talk about are links that we here refer to as low-hanging fruit. These are links that are pretty easy to get. Maybe your competitors already have them, and they're links that you really should have already. The first category in the low-hanging fruit are directory links. Now, I know, I already said directories could potentially be spammy, but just because there are spammy directories doesn't mean there aren't good ones, particularly ones that are relevant to your industry. For example, let's say you sell construction equipment. If you can find a good construction industry directory that you're not listed in, it's worth getting listed in that directory. It can send relevant traffic to your site, and it's a bit more exclusive. You have to be a construction industry site to get in it. Therefore, it's not just a directory that anyone can throw links at. It's more exclusive. But how do you find these directories? Well, you can just Google, for in this example, construction directories or your industry directories. Or you can be a bit more clever and use a link tracking tool like Moz's Link Explorer and take a look at some of your competitors' links. See what directories they're in. Are there any directories, or even not just directories, any site really, that they're linked from that you're not? See if you can get a link from it. It's a great way to put yourself on par with your competitors and maybe even give yourself a little bit of an edge. Second type of link are unlinked mentions. These are a bit trickier to find because this is basically just any time someone mentions your brand online and doesn't link to it. The way I usually recommend finding these is to set up a Google News alert for your brand. And then every time you get an alert of someone mentioning your brand, check and see if they posted a link with the mention. If they didn't, whoever they are, if maybe someone wrote an article and mentioned your business in it, reach out to whoever wrote the article and say, hey, you mentioned our business, would you mind linking to us? You might be surprised at how many people are willing to add that link. Unlinked mentions could be a great, quick way to boost your link portfolio. And finally, the last piece of low-hanging fruit are broken links. Now, again, these are a bit trickier to find, but it is possible. If you use a tool like I said before, Moz's Link Explorer, it has a feature where you can see links that you've lost over the last couple months. Check and see if any of those lost links are from sites that you do want to have linked to you. A lot of them will probably just be spammy sites, but if any of them are sites that you do want links from, see why the link was lost. Typically, it's because the page that site was linking to no longer exists on your website. Maybe it was an old product page or an old piece of content. Reach out to the owner of the site and see if you can fix that. Offer them a new piece of content they can link to or a new product they can link to. By the way, you can also do this with your competitors' links. Put their links into Link Explorer, or their domain into Link Explorer, rather. See if they've lost any links. Maybe you can swipe a link out from under their feet. Is it a little sneaky? Yes, but it absolutely works. So that covers the low-hanging fruit. But what about once you're done with the low-hanging fruit? Where do you go from there? Well, one of the most tried and true methods of link building is also one of the most controversial. I'm talking about guest posting. This is the process of publishing guest content on a well-established website with the goal of having them include a link back to your website. Guest blogging is one of those tactics that comes under fire a lot. It was something that was very, very popular a few years ago, and it really got a little spammy. You ended up with a lot of people trying to send emails to every website they could find saying, post my content, and it did kind of hurt the practice. But if done correctly, guest posting is still a very viable way of getting good links. It's just, it is difficult. It does take a lot of time and a lot of effort, but it is possible. So the first thing to remember is when you're reaching out to websites and offering to post content on their website or asking if you can post content on their website, what have I said a million times in this video? Stick to sites that are relevant to your business. This is a huge problem with guest posting currently, as you have so many people out there just sending emails to any website they can find saying, post my content. You've probably gotten emails like that if you have a blog on your website. But stick to websites that are actually relevant to yours. Ask yourself, will the people who use this site that I'm considering reaching out to, would they actually click on my link? Would they actually be interested in my business? If the answer is yes, then proceed. Now, when reaching out to owners of these sites, you do have to remember they get a lot of emails like this. So don't be discouraged if they don't respond to you right away. Consider following up from time to time, but just remember, address them personally, include content you've written in the past to show why your content should be valuable to them, and make sure you explain why you want to post a link or a article on their website. Make sure to make it clear that it's not just for a link, that you also do want exposure from their reader base. Now, keep in mind that some sites will ask you to pay them to post links on their site. Now, remember what we said about paid links. If what they're offering is sponsored content with a no-follow link, it will not pass authority, but it's still okay. It could still be good in terms of getting your site in front of their readers. That's up to you to determine whether you think that's going to be worth your time and money. Just remember, it will not pass authority. If they are not offering sponsored content and they are trying to get you to pay them to give you an actual link on their website, just walk away. It is not worth your time. So that's guest posting. The last tip we're going to leave you with here is remember to leverage your own on-site content. Having a good blog on your site is such a great way to encourage people to link to you. And I feel like a lot of site owners forget this. They think of their on-site blog as an annoyance, the thing they have to keep updating, but it can really help you out. When you're emailing sites about guest posts, if you include links to blogs you've written for your own site, that's a great way to help prove your value. And also, even if that site owner doesn't want content from you, maybe they'll link to one of your blogs. Blogs are much more linkable than, say, a product page or a home page, at least in most circumstances. When you're writing blog content for your site, think of it this way. Think about things that you get asked by your customers on a regular basis, and then write content that answers those questions. You know your business better than anybody because it's your business. Think about the things that your customers want to know and then write content that tells them that. And don't forget to share your content. Put it on social media, even if it's your company's social media, your personal social media, your mom's social media, your brother, whoever's. And don't forget, put it in your email newsletter if your company has one of those. And just maybe even ask around. Send some emails to some sites and don't ask for guest posts. Include some of your blog content and say, hey, maybe you want to link to this. It's a good piece of content that we worked really hard on. You might be surprised how many people are willing to link to your content. So do not sleep on your own blog. It is a great resource that you have. All right, guys, I lied. I do actually have one more tip for you. Less of a tip, more of a warning. I didn't really have anywhere else to work this in, but I have to tell you now. Google has a tool called the disavow tool that allows you to remove links from your site if they're harmful. Do not, under any circumstances, use this tool if you don't know what you're doing. Please, if you are worried that you have harmful links pointing to your site that are hurting your rankings, consult an SEO professional. I cannot tell you how many times I have seen site owners hurt themselves very badly by removing too many links. Please consult an SEO professional. That's our job. That's what we're here for. We are here to help. All right, everybody, that's it for me. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you found it informative. I hope you have a better understanding now of what link building is, how it works, why you do it, and how you do it. Get out there and build some links, boost your rankings, boost your authority. As always, please be sure to give us a like if you found this content informative. It really helps us out. Share it with your friends, share it with your colleagues. Leave a comment if you want to leave some feedback. Be sure to subscribe to Conversion Giant. We have great marketing content for you here every week. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of it. My name is Dan Cromar. I'm wishing you happy, healthy rankings until we meet again.